Okay, so I want you to imagine something for a second. Imagine living in a world where your worth as a woman is pretty much entirely defined by whether or not you're married. Today, we're diving into the intense, often unspoken pressures that single women face in Kenya. And we're talking about a situation where this isn't just a social preference. No, it's this massive, powerful expectation that shapes every part of their lives, from their standing in the community right down to their place in church.
So, this all boils down to a huge question that these women navigate every single day. Is getting married a personal choice, or is it a non negotiable expectation from society? And as we're about to see, the answer is way more complicated and the stakes are way higher than you might think.
Wow, just let that one word sink in. Barutu. Fruitless. Worthless. This isn't just some mean nickname. It's a judgment so powerful that it literally follows a woman to her grave, deciding where she's allowed to be buried. It just goes to show you the immense cultural weight placed on marrying and having kids. The stakes truly could not be higher.
All right, so here's our game plan for unpacking all of this. First, we're going to dig into this cultural obligation to get married. Then, we'll look at how both the church and the community ramp up that pressure, which leads to some serious judgment and exclusion. But you're going to want to stick around because we'll end on a surprising twist, the incredible resilience and even freedom some of these women find in the end. Okay, first things first. To really get what's going on, we have to understand the fundamental belief system at play here. In many parts of Kenya, marriage isn't just, a part of life. It's seen as the absolute center of existence. It's this unspoken duty for every single adult. And it's really important to know who we're talking about here. Single isn't some monolithic group. The study we're looking at includes women who've never been married, women who are divorced, widows, and mothers who are single. Now, each of these groups faces its own unique set of problems, but they all share this common experience of trying to find their way in a world that is fundamentally built for married couples. Now, this pressure doesn't just come from one direction. It's this powerful one-two punch of cultural norms and religious expectations. And it creates a kind of pressure cooker environment where just being single can feel like a constant battle. So, a key idea that helps explain all this is something called patriarchy theory. I know it sounds academic, but the concept is pretty straightforward. It's basically a system where men hold most of the power and, well, they make the rules. In this context, it means stuff like property rights and social status are all tied to men, which creates huge disadvantages for women, especially single women. And the other piece of this puzzle is stigma theory. This is all about how a society slaps negative labels onto certain people. And a stigma is so much more than a bad name. It's a powerful social force that has real teeth, leading to stereotyping, being excluded, and a total loss of your standing in the community. So, what does the stigma actually look like in daily life? Well, it can be brutal. Single women are often called husband snatchers. They're seen as incomplete or weak or immoral. And get this, the stigma can even spill over onto their kids, who might get shamed during something as sacred as a baptism. And this quote from Martha, a widow from the study, it just brings it all home. Less human. That is the raw human impact of these big academic theories. Her status changed in an instant, and suddenly the way people saw her changed too. It's deeply, deeply personal. Now, you'd think that the one place to escape all this judgment would be the church, right? A sanctuary. But, and this is a really tough part of the story, the study found a painful contradiction. For a lot of these women, the church is just one more place where they're made to feel like they don't belong. A lot of it comes down to feeling completely invisible. These women said that church activities, seminars, even the sermons themselves were almost always focused on married couples and their families. It's like they weren't even there, overlooked by the very institution that's supposed to offer support. And this comparison chart, wow, it just lays it out in black and white. It's like there are two completely different sets of rules. If you're married, doors are open to leadership, to full membership. But if you're single, especially divorced, many of those same doors are slammed shut. You might even be barred from communion. And this quote from Ziakate, man, it's just gut-wrenching. She's put in charge of the kids, which is a constant, painful reminder that she doesn't have any of her own. And even worse, that becomes fuel for gossip among the other women. A place of worship becomes a source of incredible pain. And of course, these challenges don't just stop at the church doors. Out in the wider community, these same patriarchal norms create some very real, very tangible hardships. Okay, look at this. It's a devastating cycle, and you can think of it as a systematic trap. Here's how it works. It starts when a woman becomes single. Then, customs often deny her the right to inherit any property. From there, male relatives can actually evict her from her own home, which pushes her and her children right into poverty. It's a system, not an accident. And if you want to see the human cost of that cycle we just talked about, here it is. This isn't a hypothetical. This is what happened to Jonina. She lost her husband, and then just a few months later, she lost her home. Her story is just a stark, painful reminder of how vulnerable these customs make women. But after all of that hardship, all of that judgment, the story takes this really unexpected and powerful turn. Despite everything, this study found that some women discovered a surprising silver lining, a sense of freedom, of resilience, and a kind of personal agency they had never experienced before. And listen to this. It's from Siakuthi again. Remember her? The same woman who shared so much pain about her experience in the church? Here, she's talking about a newfound control over her own life. It's this incredible statement of power. And then you have Maria. For her, being single wasn't a loss at all. It was an escape. She found more happiness on her own than she ever did in a marriage filled with stress and violence. This totally flips the script on that cultural idea that any marriage is better than no marriage. And Kagundu just reinforces this so beautifully. She calls being single a privilege. I just love that word choice. She's not just enduring her situation, she's embracing it. She loves being responsible for her own life and going after her own happiness. It's a total reversal of the narrative. So at the end of the day, what are we really seeing here? It's these women completely rewriting the rules. They're not waiting for society's permission to be happy. They are actively creating their own definitions of what a successful, fulfilling life looks like, proving it doesn't have to come from a traditional family structure. And all of this leaves us with one last big question to think about. These women were often made to feel like outsiders in their own communities, in their own churches. It makes you wonder, what truly makes a community a home? Is it about everyone following the same rules and expectations? Or is it about acceptance, about support, about making space for every single person to thrive, no matter what their life looks like?